exact thing that just happened in chapter 1. It's kind of strange. Then I had to keep reading. Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There's no one else on earth like him. He's blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason." Satan said, "Skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. But now stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face." The Lord said to Satan, "Very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life." Satan went from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores and soles on his feet and the crown of his head. So we're going through the process of faith. Satan's not going to just attack the stuff that we have. He's going to attack our bodies. He's going to attack our mental state. He's going to attack, what we hold most dear to us, and that's us. We're selfish beings, right? That's where selflessness is the opposite of ourselves. If God's truly called us to go through these things, we have to become selfless. We are really good as humans to become selfish flesh, right? Agreed? If I'm not feeling well, I'm going to let everyone know that I'm not feeling well, right? "I can't come into work today, boss. I can't come today," right? I've heard plenty of excuses like this. I don't even want to go through them because it just makes me laugh too hard. But Satan's going to attack you. He's not going to just attack your stuff. He's not going to just take your cell phone away, okay? He's going to make you have the chicken pox. No, I'm just kidding. But he got sores. So through this process, it's not just a process, it's a test, and it's an exam. Job went through a horrible exam. He lost everything that he had. Family members, his wealth. His body was decaying. It wasn't just like he was, sitting on the side of the river and watching everything else just unfold and he just sat there. No, everything was lost. Everything in his life hit rock bottom. He's on the edge of despair. If I was him, I would start complaining and say, "God, I curse you." I don't know if I'd had enough faith to go through what Job went through. I love my family. I got a little 9-month girl named Tegan, and everything that she is part of me. I love her to death. And if something happened to her, game over. Like, someone's going to be in trouble. I don't know. But he went through the same thing. Many of you have gone through plenty of trials and tribulations in your life. Many of you have probably lost family members. And you know what? I don't have the answers for that. Only God does. And we may walk through those situations and struggles, and we can either say, "All glory be to God," or we can curse him and say, "You know what, God, I can't handle you anymore." But when we walk by faith, God will move mountains. And the New Testament says, when you have faith like a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, "Move." We come from a state we're all mountains. I mean, our city is a mile above sea level, and that's just a city. Everywhere else is higher than that. And it's a beautiful sight every morning. We can drive, and there's mountains and mountains and mountains. And, when we look at things very practically, we can look at a mustard seed, and we know how small a mustard seed is, right? It's pretty small. It's like a grain of sand. Well, when God's saying this, he's not just talking about the mustard seed. He's talking about what the seed produces. The mustard seed actually grows to be one of the biggest plants in the entire world. It's almost like bamboo. You plant it, and this thing sprouts up to 16, 17 feet high. And that's what the power of that one seed contains. So when we walk by faith and not by sight, we're taking that small little seed of faith and expecting it to grow into something much larger, much bigger above ourselves. And that's a whole other series. We're not going to go into that because I'll be preaching all day. So when Satan starts to attack us at our closest layer, that's when we're most vulnerable. That's the tipping point, right then and there. And so, for me, whenever I've gone through these situations, I've had the honor and pleasure of having someone like Pastor Aaron in my life. And we're best friends. We've been friends since I was, 14 and he was 17. And, we've hung out that entire time. And we've traveled together. And, our families are really good friends. And if it wasn't for him, someone like him in my life, I wouldn't have that counsel. I wouldn't have that leadership. Because he was my pastor. His dad was a pastor as well. And so knowing them, and being able to just unveil my problems, my situations to him, he was much wiser than I was. For all the young people in here, you have a lot of people that are wiser than you. Look up to those people. They have more life experience than you have in years of age. And if you're going through something, don't hide it. Go to them. Go and counsel, because otherwise that's just going to sit in you and fester. There's plenty of situations and scenarios that I didn't seek counsel on. And that just grew and grew and grew. And it tore me apart on the inside because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea, how to resolve this issue. So I just tucked it away. And I had nothing to lose at that point because I was just, I'll just deal with it. And then it'd come up again. And I'll just deal with it later. And if I never sought the counsel of, Pastor Aaron or my pastors and my parents, those problems and situations would have wrecked me. It would have been game over. Justin's down. He's out for the count. No more. There's plenty of times where I could just give up and do nothing and, not seek the call of God in my life. But, going through this faith process, I've had to realize, God is working through me, and He's going to do something greater in the end than what I'm doing right now. The process is never easy. It's never going to be, a walk in the park. If we can turn to 2 Kings 5.